A worker study group, they used to read Connolly, Marx, Lenin and that. They had a little premises that they would discuss stuff and meet regularly. The original premises, they used to do this in Coffee House Lane, but they had moved up to Bridge Street for a period of time. So Peter O'Connor and people like that, and the lads that ended up going to Spain. Yeah, Peter O'Connor writes in his memoirs about these discussion groups, and their parents, or their dads and that sort of stuff, yeah, and their parents generally, they would have been of a kind of a left-wing persuasion. They were, so they would have been involved with the Republican movement during the War of Independence, but in their writings they explained that, look, the United Ireland is all bloody fine and all that, but what kind of United Ireland, you know? And Connolly's writings used to explain that, look, if the Brits go tomorrow morning, and he said this on the way into the GPO, he said, no matter what happens this week, Connolly, hold on to your guns, because if the Brits go, unless there's a profound and fundamental social change, and the country is not running the interests of the great mass of people as opposed to the small elite, you're only exchanging one set of exploiters for another. Tragically, that's what happened. He was so right. But these lads joined a group called, what was it called? The Republican Congress. And they were much more left-wing and wanted real social change. And they argued based on the original ideals of republicanism, Wolfe Tone, you know, the man of no property and all this sort of stuff, and about the people who generate all the wealth in society being run in their interest, you know, and now with, you know, the world is on fire as we speak with this climate change, and the small elite at the top who own them control everything. Short-term profit is their goal. To hell with the planet and humanity. That's the reality of it, you know. So they were involved in that sort of stuff. And then when, of course, you mentioned being involved in wars, in the Spanish Civil War, when that started, the rise of fascism, they've understood full well that, look, depending on the outcome of that, you know, if Franco and the fascism won, you know, it would be horrendous for the history of Europe in the aftermath. So they went to defend the Spanish Republic. Tragically, you know, most of the other states were more fearful of the left in Spain than they were of fascism, and obviously didn't support it, you know. And I think there was 11 or 12 went. Peter O'Connor in his memoir explains that himself and one or two others escaped on a collier, a small coaster that used to bring coal from Wales. You know, they might be 1,500 ton of coal on these things, and this was berthed in the Scotch Quay there, just at the mouth of the Scotch Quay, and they stowed away on it, and the Welsh captain discovered him halfway across the Irish Sea, you know, but he was a decent man, sort of, you know, and he looked after him and kind of fed him, watered him. Then they hitched down to London, and eventually, you know, they got work around London for a while, and then because they were a left wing, they joined the Communist Party in London, and the Communist Party was recruiting for Spain, you know, at the time, but there was around the world, you know, progressive people wanted to go and fight fascism and fight Franco and fight for the elected government which Franco overthrew in Spain. And, you know, they were heroic people and putting their lives on the line. Now, they were young and maybe, you know, as well. I often say to some of our lads, when we came the generation out, but we were inspired by all them, because some of the survivors we got to know, and they used to come into Jordans and all this sort of stuff, and we'd know them from so. And, you know, a number of them. So, and they'd lend you books and different things like that sort of stuff. So Tommy Hogan and all these people, and some of the lads in class, and Shammy would have known them, better have the Shammy. But that was their story.
Yeah, Mossy was killed in the Battle of Arama. I suppose, you know, in the 1920s and 30s, politics in Ireland, if you were to tell people that by and large there was a bunch of Marxists took us out of the British Empire, or revolutionary Republicans, they'd say, what? And Ireland settled down into a centre-right 2.5 party system until last year. So basically, the leap from, you know, revolutionary 1910s, 1915s into the influence of that. Mossy Quinlan lived in South Parade. His father was known as the Lamb because he had blondie curly hair. Now, they were all involved in small farming, hiding, pig buying, the famous Pig Buyers Association and that, and they would be very linked to the community of Ballybricken and very much associated on one side with John Redmond. But there was also a revolutionary side where you saw it, where they would have been on the anti-treaty side, I suppose, essentially. And Mossy was one of those thinkers, along with, they used to set up sort of a book club, a revolutionary book club, and they met over in Peter O'Connor's house, which would have been around the corner from South Parade, and they spoke of revolution and permanent revolution and taking full control of their lives and destiny. So they were essentially very political thinkers. So he joined up the International Brigade and unfortunately paid the ultimate price. Now Waterford, funny enough, had 11 people went, and he was the only one actually that didn't come back. So he would be essentially my grandfather's first cousin.